Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome to this video. My name is Kareem, and I'm a head coach at the FDLM Weight Loss Program. And today, I'm thrilled to interview Mr. Brandon Henley Smith, who was a client on our program. How are you doing, bro?
Yeah, doing good, alhamdulillah. Really happy to be
Okay,
here.
alhamdulillah. So, could you tell us a bit about yourself, bro?
Yeah, no worries. So I'm 26 years old, just in terms a bit about professional experience. I'm a physiotherapist by training. That's why I studied out of high school in my undergraduate degree. But I've since moved on and I work more in infectious diseases. So I work managing different communicable disease cases and outbreaks. From a hobby perspective, obviously I like being around my family and friends, but I do a lot of lifting. I like strength training. It's something I've kind of done on and off since I was a teenager. So you could call it like a power lifter. I don't formally compete, but that's the stuff I've really had a passion in.
You're strong, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
Awesome. So, you're from Australia, correct? From Victoria, Australia?
Yep.
Okay,
Correct,
mashallah. So let's go back to before joining the program. How did you come across FDLM material, me and Adam?
Yeah, I thought I mentioned, alhamdulillah, I converted to Islam when I was 18 years old. So that might answer some questions about my name, my appearance, and being Muslim. So alhamdulillah, I converted when I was 18 years old. And I think through those connections, I guess that's how I was able to find the program. About 4 months ago, I was actually away on Umrah, and I was just going through Facebook just as normal, and I saw a post actually about a number of people, even some well-known ulama local to Australia, who had been successful in weight loss. And it was at a time where I was really contemplating that myself. I think you're going through quite a spiritual experience while you're on Umrah, and I think the spiritual, mental, physical changes can almost be bunched up into one. And I was really had an intention. I was really thinking, I really want to get serious about weight loss when I get back home. And it just kind of, that post popped up, and I thought it was kind of like it was meant to be a little bit. And I found that, it's not just a standard weight loss program. It's obviously there's well-known ulama in our country like engaging with this. So that's how I found it, and I thought I want to engage with it. I sent Adam a message from there, just inquiring a bit more about it while I was in my hotel room in Medina, and I was messaging Adam. Yeah.
And then, of course, we had a call, you and me, and of course, alhamdulillah, you decided to join. Now, tell us a bit about your experience on the program in terms of course, the coaching. Were my client or my coachee, I would say.
Yeah.
Like what type of results you've gotten with us?
Yeah, I think a bit just to, shed light on my experience prior. I felt I had a reasonable level of knowledge in regards to nutrition and training. Like I had been powerlifting and relatively successful at doing that. So I had a little bit of an understanding about the human body and nutrition. But I felt like I just couldn't quite, from a nutrition perspective, just put it together. I kind of had some knowledge in regards to calories and regards to macronutrients, but I just, from a behavioral perspective, just wasn't quite able to put it together. My previous efforts where I tried to lose weight, I might have been successful for a little bit, but I wasn't really able to maintain those habits really longer than 1 or 2 months to see real sustainable change. And that's where I felt my gaps were. Engaging with the program, I felt for me was really able to fill those gaps and identify some of the, some bits of growth and knowledge, but some of those behavior areas where I could really improve upon, and just the things that I didn't see in my behaviors, I was really to able to get a lot of benefit from that. A big part of that was the material itself in terms of the program. It's designed to be like the minimalist method. Yeah. And that suited really well because I previously used to calorie count, and I found that very exhausting. And I found that quite like you can do it to a point, but it's not adaptable in a lot of different situations. For example, I go to a friend's house to eat, or I get invited to a restaurant. It becomes really difficult in those situations. But through the minimalist method, I was able to kind of apply that everywhere, and I was probably more consistent. And I got better results doing that, even compared to calorie counting, where I was really looking at macronutrients. And in addition, I guess, to the principles of the program, was doing obviously the diet reviews with yourself, because that was looking at what was I actually eating, what was actually on my plate, and getting the feedback where I could improve. I remember the first diet review video getting from yourself, and remember you kind of saying, this is really good. And I think that's really good feedback to know what you're doing well and when to improve. And I think it just kind of grew from there. I'm thinking about just in terms of what I used to eat for breakfast. It wasn't like it was like a drastic change. Like it kind of went from, I'd have a couple pieces of toast, eggs and sujuk on it with barbecue sauce. And then over time, I was like, okay, maybe we'll remove a couple slices of bread just to get a bit more calories, to reduce the calories. Maybe it was like add more vegetables in to account for that So you're not getting hungry. So you're not really getting any volume differences. And I was like, okay, with those eggs, I'm using 5 whole eggs, maybe switch to a few more egg whites. And it was kind of like just slow changes that you could get like a 600 calorie breakfast and made it a 300 calorie breakfast without really any difference in what I'm doing. Like it was just small changes. And I felt with that, adding that up in lots of different areas, getting more steps in, just improving the efficiency of the dinners, cutting out or not cutting out, reducing a few more of like guilty pleasures, making smarter decisions when to go and optimize. It was just little optimizations everywhere, and that equated in really significant results, like losing 1 kilo a week. I didn't really think that was possible. Like I thought across the 12 weeks, if I had lost 8 kilos, I would have been really happy, but I was able to keep more than 1 kilo a week up during those 12 weeks. So alhamdulillah, that was just a result of just engaging with the program, the diet reviews. It was nothing drastic. It was just lots of little things, and that 1 or 2% in lots of different areas really added up to really just getting into a calories deficit. And it felt quite sustainable through different times in life. Like even across 12 weeks, there was sometimes I was doing really good and really motivated, and sometimes I was struggling a little bit, and I felt the diet was able to be sustainable. So I really enjoyed engaging with the program. I felt sustainable. That was the main thing. I never had to be on 100%, but I was never just, I think an analogy maybe Adam uses, like the phase switch. Like I wasn't like an on and off switch. It was just I was always phased in. Like on a good day, 85 to 90%. On a bad day, I was still 70%, and that was still enough to
elicit some change.
Elicit change. Correct.
Awesome. So in terms of results, and thank you for sharing your experience. In terms of results, just to let people know, how many kilograms have you lost in 12 weeks?
So in the 12 weeks, I think I lost 12.5 kilos. I started off, when I got back from overseas, the first thing I did is I went on my scales. The first reading I had on my scales was like 104. I was on the plane, I was very watery, and I thought, because on Umrah, you do so many steps, I thought I would have maybe lost 1 kilo or 2, but because my diet wasn't intact during Umrah, so I think it was cancelling itself out. But within a day, I was 102, so I think I lost a bit of that watery weight you get from being on the flight. So that's why I say my baseline was 102. At the end of the program, it was 80. I got under 90. So I think I got 89.9. I really wanted to get under 90 before the program ends, because that was just a really big achievement for me, because I think I mentioned to yourself, I haven't been under 90 kilos since I was a teenager. It was 19. I remember I was going in to have like knee surgery at the time. You have to weigh yourself, and I was like 90 or something. So it was, since I was a teenager, I hadn't been that low. And then alhamdulillah, I think that was the end of the formal program, but I'm still keeping going with it because I still want to try to get more out of it. So I was 88 as of a few days ago. So that's like 12 or 13 kilos across space of the 12 weeks.
Fantastic. Like before joining the program, have you had any concerns? Did you think that this is like too good to be true?
A little bit. I think you're always not quite sure when you're going to invest time and money into something. There's always kind of doubts that kind of creep in. I hadn't really invested previously into anything too much, but I remember even about 5 years ago, I knew I struggled with my nutrition a bit, and I'd gone to a dietitian to try and get a few more tips. And I remember just after that experience feeling really deflated, because I felt we just kind of went in there and it was a bit more like, you need to eat more vegetables, and that was it. I was like, I know that, but
Google gives that for free.
I know the food pyramid. Like I know you should eat more vegetables, like and less sweets. Like I kind of get it. So it wasn't quite what I was after. There's a bit of apprehension when you're going to invest a lot of, as I said, time and resources. I probably felt reassured. Like I said, from the initial post, I saw there was lots of people who had engaged with the program, and there was a lot of success from it, and it seemed quite genuine within local people of our community. And I think it was also reading about the company's values. It wasn't like gimmicky. Like there was a lot of values that the company has that aligned with my values. So I thought that's where we could connect, and that's where I thought we have work together. And even when I was on Umrah, I prayed istikhara about it. I told Adam I would, and it just seemed like it was the right option, and I really did believe it was going to work. And I think if you know, like you really have certainty that something is going to work, then investing in your health is a significant thing. Like you'll go quite the mile to do that, and that's the kind of rationale I was sitting at. And then I mean, hindsight's 2020, but alhamdulillah, I'm really glad I did, because it really helped me a lot.
Awesome. So what's life like now? How, like, new Brandon is doing now?
Yeah, I mean it's good. I feel a lot more confident just in terms of body image, and identity as well. And I know the program really stresses about how you view yourself, how you view your identity, your self-talk. And I kind of my self-talk, I guess 3 months ago was kind of like, oh, I'm getting older, I'm getting fatter, I'm getting uglier. Like that was the kind of the way I used to talk to myself. And I'm like, oh, I'm just a big strong dude. I like to eat, I like to lift weights, and that was kind of my self-talk. But I realized that it was compromising of who I wanted to be, because I realized I have friends, and if we want to play sports, I'm running out of breath. Like and I would be like, oh, I used to be fast when I was a teenager, and I hate being that person who talks about how they were.
The
How people
history.
says, oh, I used to do this. Yeah, I used to be an athlete when I was
The
a
history
teenager,
class.
and look at my belly now. Like I don't want to be that. I want to be the best version of myself in some sense now. And that's kind of how I feel now. Like I feel I don't have that self-talk anymore. I feel like, I am someone who I can be a fit person. I'm not getting older and ugly and fatter. I'm trying to get older and better. Older and wiser, older and stronger, older and fitter. And I know I'm a young man, but that was just my
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
it's your own self-talk, right? And that's probably as I feel now. I feel really good. I still feel I know I have work to continue doing, but I don't look at myself kind of in the mirror and be like and feel distressed. Like that's how I used to feel about something. I used to look and I feel distressed. I feel like almost like panic or almost like denial. Like I don't like who I am. Where now I kind of feel much more comfortable with who I am, and it's just trying to become the best version of myself and unlock new bits of myself that have never been seen before. So yeah, that's the way I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, fantastic. And I agree with you. Once you start like making changes, especially now, like the physique, because we did like before and after.
Yeah.
We can see, like all maybe the heavy lifting you were doing. We're seeing the fruits now with the striations and the muscle definition.
And that's what I always knew. And that's what I always used to say. I remember, and this kind of hit me. I was at the gym one time, and one guy goes to me, I was doing deadlifts, and he's looking at me during my set, and he goes to me, he's like, you don't look like what you lift. Like he said that to me, and it's like, it's a backhanded compliment. Like the compliment is like, okay, I can lift, but he's basically saying you don't look the part. I'm sure he meant it in a good way. But I was like, and I knew, because I do have lifting experience, I knew I'm actually want to know what I look like underneath my body fat. I actually think there would actually, I have lifted for a while. I might have a bit of a physique, and I only think that's only just starting to show a bit, and that's what I want to keep seeing, because I've never really had like abdominal showing or a cut chest, and I feel like I'm only just at the part now where I'm in a situation to start seeing that. Like I'm starting to see a slimmer, more athletic physique come in, and I think bit by bit that will be able to show more. And it's really motivational for me, because having that lifting experience, I never regret doing all that lifting. I'm kind of keen to see where it goes.
Yeah, me too, bro. To be able to see all the like the muscle definition. Yeah. It would be like really awesome. So thank you, bro, for sharing your experience. So just like a final question, what would you say to people who are watching or might like watch this video in the future and they are wondering, is it worth it? Especially like busy professionals as yourself. What would you say to them? You go ahead. I let you talk.
I think with all things, you want to be a good fit for the program, and I think that's quite easy to do. But I think setting a really strong intention about why, like saying the why, I think that's so crucial, because I think as much as I was at a position to engage with the program because I had a really strong why at that time, and I think me in combination with the program really gelled together quite strongly. And that's why I'd say if anyone's to have that really strong why, because I don't think any program is going to, it might be able to help a bit, but you have to have, maybe yourself might be able to flesh that out a bit more, but establishing that really strong why is really important, that really strong intention. And from then, if that's present, I think the programs, I think really highly of it. Obviously because of the values, it promotes, it's not gimmicky, it's not, I think it goes above just trying to lose weight. It's really engaging in behaviors, it's engaging in psychology, it's engaging with your relationships with food. And especially for people who are busy health professionals, I think I alluded to before, that minimalist method. Like it's not aggressive calorie counting, because I tried to do that and it didn't really work for me. It's just getting your adapting to your own behaviors, just finding sustainable behavioral methods, and that support is there, like through engaging with the program, and through engaging with the coach as well. And I think lastly, I know you mentioned to me at the start, is just coming in with an open
Teacup.
perspective.
Yeah.
With an empty cup. Because everyone's at varying levels in terms of their knowledge about health and fitness. Some people might think they know a lot. Some people might not know a lot. There might be different myths. I think the whole point is engagement of the program is to learn and have trust in the process, because I think, like myself and many others who have been able to be successful with the program, so I think coming with that empty cup is really handy. And I think if all those things are in place, if someone's in a position to be able to engage with the program, I would definitely recommend it.
Awesome. Thank you. So thanks for all like the positive stuff you said. It was like, I don't want to keep it like one-sided. I would like to like express, I'll maybe share my experience working with you. So for me, like you said, we have like we have a structure to our business. We vet people before we work with them. Okay. Like you said, maybe on the first call when we had like the transformation call, you're doing Umrah at that time. And what I liked is the decisiveness. Okay, you said, okay, I'm doing this like spiritual thing, religious thing, and I want to keep this snowball effect, positive from positive to positive to positive. You reach out, you said, okay, let me like talk to these guys. And then when we had the call, like you quickly just like you said, of course, I'm going to maybe like think about it or maybe ask the missus or something like this. And then you came back, you said, hey, let's do it. So I want to like stress, because I'm a coach at heart, and I like, maybe it looks to you like so simple, but I think this is like the tipping point, or maybe this is like the initial phase where change happens. And most people don't like live to this moment or let themselves experience this change, because they stand in their own way, basically, by shying away from making decisions. Life is about making decisions. And now if we're in hindsight, if we reflect back on what happened, it's just like one simple, of course not simple, you took a leap of faith. You don't know us, you're from Australia, and maybe we are like active primarily. Alhamdulillah, we have clients from all over the globe now, but maybe you are like UK-based company. You took a leap of faith, and this is not, I think, decisiveness at this day and age. Not most people have it, especially if they happen to be like successful in their businesses. They still have this skeptical mindset. And again, sometimes you don't need to listen to that and also try stuff. So if reflect back, you took a decision 12 weeks later, or maybe 13 now, because you finished the program a week ago. Look where you are now, 13 kgs lighter, a lot of knowledge, skill sets. And if I ask you now, would you be able to accept gaining fat again? You might say no, never. Especially once you unlocked, or maybe you unpacked the lean physique or the lean Brandon. Now you see muscle striations. Maybe you might like always like keep updating the self-belief and also how you perceive yourself. Like the leaner you go, the more you want to stay there. Okay. Or maybe better. This is why you told me maybe you have 2 kgs to lose. And now you think to yourself, you know why? To be able to see those abs, I think I need to shoot for like 9 kgs loss. Yeah. So this is like in hindsight, maybe you haven't like thought about it like this, because we are like, I'm seeing it from another angle, from the coach angle. And you see it from like you are in the machine and I'm outside. So this is what's possible when you make decisions. And this is just like for all the guys who watch this video. Of course, our program is not like cheap. And again, I'll say it like overtly and in public, but we do care about people. We deliver on the promise. And also, like Brandon said, you must come with an empty cup to learn from us. Even if you are a coach, basically, you know how to power lift, and you are a physiotherapist. So when I had a call with you, so I had this thought, what would I like teach this guy? He knows all this stuff. Yeah, he's like, he studied all this stuff. And again, on the call, I saw some gaps in nutrition, etc. And also you were like humble. You humbled yourself. Yeah, I know that you know some of the stuff, but again, you took what you haven't like acquired before.
Yeah, I remember saying to you, I was like, if I knew everything, I wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
Because I do have gaps in knowledge and behavior. I think what you'll lean to about making decisions, I mean, hindsight's 2020. If I look back now, it's like it was a no-brainer. But at the time, I did have to make that decision, and there was a rationale for it. And I'm aware about the prices of the program. I was aware back then,
Yeah.
but I had to make a rationale. And from my perspective, after doing the research, I felt, as I said, I aligned with the values of the company.
Mm-hmm.
I had a really strong why. And I was very, very confident it was going to work. And that's also because I'd seen people who had been confident, who had engaged, seen people who had successfully engaged with the program.
Yeah.
So it became a decision to me, well, if this money, what's it worth to my health? Like if I just say, if I'd kept going and continue being overweight, maybe I would have had negative health issues because of that, like let alone physique issues or self-image issues. There was the health component of it. So I thought, if I do this and I do it right and I engage with the program, that's invaluable if you look across a lifetime. And that was the rationale I held then, because I still wasn't totally sure to make that decision. I had to consult, even when I did the coaching call with you, I said I'd
Yeah.
talk to my wife about it, because I like to talk to my wife to just discuss things through.
Of course.
And I felt the rationale was strong. And that's, I think people who engage with I would advise to go in a similar way. That I could defend my rationale then, and even if the program hadn't have worked, I could still defend that rationale I had at the time. But alhamdulillah, it has worked, and that makes it even stronger.
Alhamdulillah. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And as I said, I can't imagine myself getting heavy again. I always keep that awareness that it could happen, because that keeps me accountable to my behaviors. So it always keeps me, I think for me, I like to try and keep myself second guessing, not to get lax and then relaxed and then behaviors slowly creep back in again. The only thing that sometimes is hard about getting lighter, I know for me being in the gym, is it's hard to keep your strength up. But that doesn't mean as much to me at this point, because I feel where I was before, I was already overweight. I didn't want to eat more because I didn't want to get more overweight. I didn't really have a good set of nutrition, so I wasn't really going anywhere with my lifting anyway. I probably felt I needed to do a big cut to actually be at a stage where I can do a little bulk or do a little calorie surplus to actually try and burn more muscle. Like I needed that reset.
Space.
So to create space. Yeah, exactly. So even then, maybe I've lost about 10% of strength. It doesn't mean much to me, because I know in the long run, I'm actually going to be able to grow from it. And even just in terms of conditioning, having a good work capacity, having good conditioning actually helps in the long run with your lifting and your progress. So I'm looking at a long run perspective. I think it was the right thing to do in the moment. I'm really, really glad I did it.
Alhamdulillah. And I'm glad that I've been able to help you.
100%.
Alhamdulillah. Awesome. So I won't take more of your time, bro. I want to thank you again, for coming to this call. It's been a real pleasure to work with you and see your progress, and also see all the changes, especially like mindset wise, not just like the physique, because again, we are more concerned about like the long-term success. We see it as like scale acquisition, not just like numbers on the scale, because once I make like a deep change in behavior and psychology, it's done. You are that person. You carry on. I've made the updates on the software and also the hardware.
Yeah,
most people
the
like do
2.0
just
version.
They do just like the updates in the hardware, i.e. the physique, and they don't like make any changes to the software, i.e. the psyche, how they perceive themselves. And this is where like what makes, in my opinion, like weight loss sustainable long term.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to work with yourself, and share this last 12 weeks with you, and hopefully more to come as well. As I said, I'm still going to be keeping at it, so we'll keep in touch.
Inshallah. Okay, take care, bro.
No worries, man. Take care. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.